What's going on, guys? I'm Nick with Custom Offsets TV on the YouTube. And today we're gonna be going about how to wash your SEMA truck, or actually how we're gonna go about it for washing the trucks that we send to SEMA. We're gonna be using our carbon line based products, and I will explain step by step on what we do to make sure your truck is up to par. We're gonna go through a degreasing stage, a wash, and then if you so choose, a wash ceramic. We are going to go through clay barring, a wax. We're going to go use a 3-bucket wash method. So we'll have 1 bucket for washing the truck, 1 bucket for washing strictly the wheels, and then your last wash. All right, guys, we do have our buckets made up. We do have the one with the degreaser in it for cleaning our wheels and engine bay. And then we have the 2 buckets for washing the exterior of the vehicle. For the exterior of the vehicle, we do have our carbon vehicle wash. It is a high foam, so if you want to use it in a foam cannon, you can. You will get that high suds, that high foam effect that a lot of people like to see. We unfortunately don't have a foam cannon here, so we can't do that. We're gonna be using a regular pressure washer. At the end of this, we will be polishing the exterior of the paint with our paint sealants and wax, depending on what we want to choose. If you weren't gonna do that, you could use our ceramic wash. So you just mix this in with your regular wash solution, and it will create somewhat of a hydrophobic finished product. So when I say hydrophobic, what that means, after you wash the vehicle, it will have like a Rain-X effect. It will make the exterior of the paint a little bit more slick, and it will have higher water wicking properties after the wash is done with the ceramic vehicle wash we provide. First, we're gonna start washing the engine bay and wheels and the suspension with our degreaser. We will use the degrease solution in the first bucket, and then I will mix up a solution in our sprayer here so we can get in the engine bay, agitate some of that dirt, and get into the wheel wells and wash all that up. So we're gonna go ahead and scrub these wheels down a little bit with the degreaser. We're just gonna agitate everything, and we're gonna pressure wash it all off. Get up all into the suspension a little bit here with our smaller microfiber. I like the use of these hands ones because it allows me to get in a lot smaller areas. Cleaning inside these wheel wells can be a little bit of a pain sometimes. So that's why I like these hand ones. Now that we have the suspension washed and degreased, we are going to grab a pressure washer and start washing the exterior of this truck. All right, guys, so this is an iron filing remover. It is, we are gonna do this prior to clay barring. After feeling the vehicle after the wash, there is a little bit more contaminants in the paint that I would like. So what this is gonna do is gonna attach to those metallic flakes that comes off of your brakes, or the term rail dust, if you're familiar with it. The term rail dust actually came from shipping back in the day, when they used to ship these cars via railroad cars, and all the metal wheels on the metal tracks would create sparks when braking, which would create rail dust all on the side of the vehicle. And that metallic and that iron dust will attach itself to the paint and make it look like rust specks. Clay barring would remove it off, but it will create more scratches than I would like to try and get out. So we are going to use an iron filing remover on the wheels and the paint to help us pull that metal off the vehicle before doing the clay bar. All right, guys, now that All right guys, now that I do have this all sprayed down, I am gonna let it sit for about 3 to 5 minutes. I will re-wipe the truck and then let it sit for another 3 to 5 minutes, and then I will rinse it off, and then we'll start the clay bar process. All right guys, we're gonna go ahead and start clay barring now. So we offer a quick exterior detail, or you can use a waterless vehicle wash that we both offer on our website. We'll use the waterless wash to help lubricate the clay, to help it slide across the paint. Because if you just did this without anything on the paint, obviously the clay is just gonna stick to it and it's not gonna do what we wanna do. One thing to watch out for when claying, you gotta make sure that you are rotating the material that you're pulling off the paint back into the clay to prevent so much buildup that there's gonna be not much clay on the specific surface of it, and you're just gonna be scratching your paint then. So make sure you keep reworking the clay and moving that dirt back into the clay. Again, these are only so good with how many uses that you get out of them. So if you drop this and you pick up a bunch of gravel, throw it away. Take that off camera. All you're gonna do is mess your paint up, put scratches on the paint, and just gives yourself so much more of a headache. If you drop it, just throw it away. Now, with this clay, I have it cupped in my hand like this, so I'm using my fingers and the back of my palm to actually feel where the contaminants are in the paint. And if I need to keep going over a certain area, I can feel it then in my fingertips. Now that we have this all clayed, we are going to finish off the wash with just an engine bay wash. I will need to go grab a step stool for this one. We are going to use our degreaser, the same stuff that I had in the pressure sprayer. We're going to soak the engine bay down, agitate everything with a little brush, get all that dirt loose, and then we'll rinse it off. Now when you're washing your engine bay, you do have to be careful a couple things of the electrical components, things like that. When you pressure wash, make sure you're not getting that pressure wash too close. You will get water in areas that it does not belong. If you do have a cold air intake, Cody does not have a cold air intake on this truck, but if you are looking for one, custom offsets /performance, check it out. We can get you a cold air intake. Now, if you do have one, make sure to cover that up with some type of a bag or a towel so you're not getting water in your intake, because that's the last thing you want. You water in your intake, hydrolock it, you're done. Now, this does make things a lot easier with a brush. An engine bay has a lot of nooks and crannies in it that you're not going to be able to get with just a normal towel. With the smaller bristles, you can get into all these little components here and wash everything off really nice with not leaving any dirt left behind. Now, when this engine bay is all done, washed and dried, we are going to take some of our rubber renew that we offer, the carbon rubber renew, and you can actually just get the tops of all these plastics and it'll prevent them from fading and bring a nice gloss back to this engine bay. Now, if you did opt for doing the ceramic wash that we offer, when blow drying this truck, or even if you wash the vehicle, took it around the block, all this beading effect, it'll dry right off super easy. All the water will bead right off, drive around the block, the thing's dry. So that's why I highly suggest the new ceramic products nowadays. If you do opt for getting our wheels and tires from us, you can opt to get them ceramic coated. Ceramic coating is gonna apply think of it as like an exterior clear coat that is very, very smooth. If you look at your paint on a microscopic level, it's all hills and valleys. What ceramic does, and even on your wheels, it is going to smooth that over, creating a super gloss finish and super easy to clean. Generally, once you have ceramic coating done on your wheels or your paint, you can just rinse it off and you're done. Not a lot of washing is involved, so that's why a lot of people opt to get that ceramic coating done on their wheels or getting the ceramic coating washed for the exterior of your paint. Now, when it comes to waxing your truck, we do offer a couple different products that you can get. We have paint sealants and liquid wax. The difference between the two is that a wax is gonna give you more of that high gloss sheen, and it's gonna last you generally on a normal daily driver 2 to 3 months. Now, a paint sealant is gonna last a little bit longer. Generally, it is a little bit more expensive, but it is gonna last you more towards that 6 to 8 months, depending on how it's driven. Now, if we did have any metal polish, we would use that. That would be our next step as well. But with Cody's truck, we do not have any metal to polish. Now, you can apply this wax, whether it's the wax or the paint sealant, in a pad form. You can do it by hand, or you can opt to do it with a machine. Now, there are two types of machines you can get. There is a straight rotational, and then there is the random. If you are a beginner, I do not recommend doing a straight rotational because it can heat your paint up, you can burn your paint, and it will mess up your paint job permanently. You don't have to worry about that with a randomized machine. So not only does it spin, the whole head also rotates as well. So you're not gonna heat up your paint as bad, and you're not gonna burn through your paint. So if you are a beginner, it is a lot safer for you to go this route. We are gonna apply ours with a fine cut pad. Since we did clay bar it, we're gonna do a little bit of a polish while applying the wax at the same time. It kind of saves yourself a little bit of a step and makes things easier. So generally you're just gonna want a few dabs on your pad, and then we'll just actually take and just kind of spread everything around a little bit, because you don't just turn the machine on and start going. You're gonna throw wax everywhere. It's gonna get in areas you don't want wax. One thing I do want to point out to you guys as well, this truck, we're not going into a super detailed wax job on it. But if we were, and you're doing a full polish, full scratch removal, make sure to tape off any plastics and rubber that you may run into by accident with your wax. Wax will stain this black plastic into it, and it'll give it a white sheen to it, and it's extremely hard to get off. So that's why in a lot of videos you'll see taping off the tops of the doors, around the mirrors, and anywhere else that may have black plastic on it. Now, as you can see in the video, I went from a side-to-side motion and then in an up and down. It's removing scratches this way, you're going up and down, and then you're not missing any areas. So we're gonna cover our whole base, wipe it off with a new microfiber, and then this panel will be done. One of the great and many reasons for keeping wax on your truck is if you do store it outside, if you do go through a field of bugs, having that wax and paint sealant on there is gonna protect your paint from those bugs etching themselves in. It is gonna make cleaning this truck a lot easier. For say, tomorrow he goes out and takes this thing and just plasters the front of it with mayflies. We can easily just do a wash on this thing. There's gonna be no gut residue left over from the bugs. It's gonna protect that paint and keeping a higher gloss finish for a long period of time. Now this is our Karbon, the Jet Black Rubber Renew. So I'm gonna apply a little bit on the rag, and then I'm gonna end up wiping the wheels down. It's gonna give a nice sheen, nice gloss black to this sidewall and the tire. You can actually also use this stuff on your ABS plastics. So mirrors, your side runners, any bumper ABS plastics that you have, and even in the engine bay. It's gonna bring back, if you have an older truck, that fade, you can get rid of that by getting that blackness back to that ABS plastic. So we're gonna go ahead, do this tire, do the rest of his ABS on the exterior. It looks like he doesn't have too much. Looks like we'll just be doing mirrors, tires, side runners, and then we'll finish up in the engine bay with this stuff. All right guys, now that we have this thing all done, we are gonna pull this thing out into the sunlight since it is a beautiful day out. We are gonna go through, touch up some of this suspension, touch up some of these wheels with our carbon detail spray. You can use this on basically anything. We're gonna use it on the wheels, any of the painted surfaces I may have missed, mirrors, and even on the glass. It's gonna give a nice water wicking property to it to make this thing shine and glisten in the sun, hopefully. All right guys, now that you know how to professionally wash your truck, hit that like and subscribe button down below. Make sure to go to our website, pick up your own bottle of Karbon products so you can professionally wash your truck.